What's up, Packer fans? Back again. So I did a full 53-man roster prediction, but I did it and it was super long, super in depth, and it won't upload before the 53-man roster comes in. I don't think it might, but I just wanted it to be out sooner and it didn't come out yet. So I wanted to do one quick where I just run through the names really fast and have my prediction out there, the final 53. I kind of went on a limb here. Some of my predictions it's a little bit of a long shot, but this is kind of what I see that the Packers doing, just based on the fact that I feel like their hands are tied in this scenario with what they have. I did hear today there was a little bit of a change. So I did change something, but I had Dallin Levitt making it and then getting on the IR, but I think he's back. I think he was back today, so he should be fine. Maybe that's I think that I want him there. I think he's a lock because of his special teams guru-ness. But anyway, okay, so back to the top. We're gonna run through it quick, and then another change I would have made probably is the practice squad. I think Danny Etling makes the practice squad. For some reason, I left him off, but it's because of all the other guys that I don't see us really cutting. I don't even see him not making the team. A lot of the guys, so it's this season's been nuts. This roster's stacked for the Packers. I'm super excited about what they have to work with. The guys that aren't going to make the team or that end up on this practice squad probably will go to a different roster. And, the practice squad is different this year. Last year, the guys could come off and on the PUP list and all those different lists freely because of COVID stuff, protocols, and all those things. But now that's not the case. There's new rules, and it's going to be interesting to see them manipulate this practice squad. All the different teams are going to have to do it, and the GMs that do it the best are going to, have the most success, obviously. It's not about the best 53. It's about keeping the 53 that that other teams would take, and then the 16 that go in the practice squad could be guys that you want on your active roster. You just don't think other teams would take them because they kind of are a scheme player or somebody that's off the radar. So interesting to see how it all plays out. We will see tomorrow, Tuesday. I think it's 3 p.m. Central Time, which is like 4 p.m. Eastern. They have to have the 53-man roster cuts in. So, sorry again, starting from the top. So, QBs, we have Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, the two. Going to running back, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and Tyler Goodson makes it as the third. I think he's proved enough. So he's on there as the third. We don't keep a fourth. Colin Hill is on the PUP list, and Patrick Taylor and Dexter Williams will be on the practice squad in case they are needed. But running backs are kind of a dime a dozen, and we know we're just going to be using the two workhorse backs, and that's that. So I don't think they're going to keep extra there. So wide receivers, where it gets crazy already, that's where I'm going out on a limb here with Lazard, Watkins, Cobb, Amari Rodgers, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Samori Toure, and Juwan Winfrey. That is 8 receivers. I'm keeping all 8. I just don't think there's a way they can let any of these guys go to the practice squad. They will lose them, most likely Winfrey or Toure. So I don't think they're going to be gone. I think they're keeping 8. That's why I think they're keeping 3 running backs. And they're still able to keep a lot of guys on defense. So I know it's a lot, but I don't see them. They already have basically 4 guys all the way to Rodgers, and then Winfrey makes 5. And then you add the 3 rookies, that's 8. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Rodgers already shouted out Winfrey and Doubs, so I think I think it's gonna be 8. I never saw them doing that. Never saw them doing that when I started the predictions, and then never really thought they could keep 8, but it just seems like Toure played too well, and each of these guys has something they can offer, so I'm excited to see what happens. But so 8 receivers, and then we go to tight end. 4 tight ends: Robert Tonyan, Mercedes Lewis, Josiah DeGuara makes it, and Tyler Davis makes it. He was all the hype coming into camp. Kind of had a underwhelming preseason and training camp, but I think they like his upside, and so He's a guy that's kind of a lock. DeGuara's a guy that I don't know. He's kind of on the fence for me, but I think they keep him. They need another pass catcher other than Mercedes Lewis. Tanyon's back, but, he's coming off the ACL and Lewis is getting older. So we need these younger pass catching tight ends to really step up and kind of stretch the field. So I think they keep both DeGuara and Davis. So that's 4. Now we're to O-line. O-line's been kind of tricky all offseason, training camp with the injuries of Bakhtiari and Jenkins. But, of course, both of those guys make it. Then we have Jake Hansen, Josh Myers, Royce Newman, John Runyon Jr., Zach Tom, Sean Ryan is the 8th offensive lineman. And then Yash, obviously, not in any particular order, but that's 9 offensive linemen. I think Rasheed Walker and Caleb Jones end up on the practice squad. I do like both of those guys, but, this offensive line unit is pretty much stacked. With Bakhtiari and Jenkins back healthy, they didn't need to keep so many other guys, but it's nice to know that Yash can play left tackle. It's nice to know that Zach Tom can rotate in and out of different guard positions and other spots. And, we found Jake Hansen. This guy could be a diamond in the rough, and Royce Newman and John Runyon Jr. have had a lot of snaps on the offensive line, so there is a lot of depth here. They were able to trade Cole Van Lanen, who was another versatile offensive lineman, to the Jaguars for a 7th-round pick. He was an undrafted guy, so to get some value for him, but we'll see how his career goes, and I'm excited that the Packers got some value for him, especially when they have such depth at offensive line. So that's 9 guys. And then we're to the defensive line. And this was real tough because 2 guys really stepped up kind of in the preseason. They got a lot of looks, though. TJ Slayton and Chris Slayton, spelled one with a Y, one without a Y. So I like both of those guys, but both of those guys are not going to be on this 53-man Packers team this year. They could show up later in the season, but they're going to be on the practice squad for the start of week 1. The 5 guys that I'm keeping are Kenny Clark, who's a lock, Jaron Reed, Dean Lowry, all locks. Devontae Wyatt was a lock. So that's 4 already out of the gate. They've only really kept 5 on the active roster all of last year. I think 1 game, maybe that playoff game, I think it was 6. So I have Heflin, that play on 4th and 1 solidified it for me. None of those other guys really had that big splash play where they showed up and that was a big time situation, and obviously he didn't get blocked, but he was the guy that made the play, and I just think that he was there. He was on the Packers team last year. They liked him then. Nobody came in and really pushed him off his spot. I don't think anybody played well enough to knock him off the team since he was already there last year. I think they like where he's at and how he's developed, so that's why they let Lancaster go, because they liked what Heflin brought to the team. So that's 5 defensive linemen right there. If they do keep one of the Slaytons, that's 6. So do they not keep DeGuara then? Maybe they don't keep 8 receivers. I know that, but that's why it's a prediction. So that's 5 defensive linemen, and now we're to outside linebacker. We have Rashawn Gary, of course, 15 sacks plus this year. Preston Smith, who I think will have a good year as well. He's only missed 1 game in his whole career. Then we have the rookie J.J. Enagbar out of South Carolina. I liked what he brought, 6'4", 260. This guy's going to be a beast. Just give him some time to develop. And then you have Jonathan Garvin, who I do like. I think that, he shows flashes, but like I said, he's another guy that played last year. Randy Ramsey, they let go. So Garvin, it was kind of his spot to lose. And I don't think any of these guys really, they played well. There was Kobe Jones, who I liked. Darius Hamilton really played well too. I like both of those guys. Both of those guys are on the practice squad though. And Tipa, it's either Galai or Naliai or something. So it's, I don't know how they pronounce it. Somebody tell me how it's pronounced. But either way, Tipa makes this team again. I liked what Tipa brought to the team last year. He made the team last year. So he's been around this organization for a while, and they keep seeing development out of him, and they like what they see. So I just think that Tipa, he's really practiced well. And then he showed up in the games. He got a lot of snaps in preseason, and I liked what I saw. So, could be Kobe Jones, could be Darius Hamilton in that spot, but I think it's going to be Tipa. That's, kind of how the Packers like to do it with the seniority, just trying to give the guy who's been there a chance to, keep that spot or have somebody take it from him. I don't think anybody did that. Players had their moments, but just not enough to take his spot on the roster. So now inside linebacker, we know Devondre Campbell, the All-Pro, he'll be the starter with Quay Walker next to him. I think that's going to be an amazing combo. Both 6'3", both run 4.5 40s. You saw Walker against the Chiefs, how his development has grown so much. That sideline to sideline against the running back and then the receiver on a different play. You could see the speed. You could see the pursuit. You could see just his ability, and he is starting to just react instead of having to think so much. And for a guy like him, that's huge. So those two guys in the middle, that's depth right there. And then you have Chris Barnes, who started since he was a rookie. He's a guy that they use some roster manipulation during cuts. They let him go to the practice squad knowing that no teams would take him, and then they brought him back and he was starter week 1. So that's the type of roster manipulation you might see when it comes to the practice squad and the final 53. But he makes this roster as the number 3 inside linebacker. But McDuffie is the 4th. They let go of Ty Summers. We all know that. So I think McDuffie, he led the team in tackles in the first 2 games of the preseason. The third one wasn't as great of a game, but he was pushing Barnes for that third middle linebacker spot. He was making plays on special teams and making some plays on defense. Obviously, with the 6 tackles in both the first 2 games, and then he didn't have, like I said, as many in the third. But still, he played really well, and that's why they let Ty Summers go, a guy that's been around for a while. But everybody's kind of known that he just didn't have the talent, but they kept giving him a chance. He was a pretty good tackler against the run, but not much in the pass and not much on special teams. So those are the 4 inside linebackers. And now we're to cornerback, and we have Jair Alexander, Jair Island. Receivers are going to be coming there, and they're not going to be heard from for at least 4 hours or so while they're on Jair Island. So I'm excited. Having him back, the last time we saw him, he was intercepting Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game. He played some games last year, but he got hurt. But that's like the last moment I really remember of him. I thought we were going to win after that, and we did not. So happy to have Jair back. And this guy, he's so confident, and he's excited to be back, and I'm excited for him. So he's the guy that starts this defense off in that secondary with Eric Stokes, 4.29 guy, out of Georgia, second year, played a lot of snaps last year, really did well last year, and now he's got another year under his belt with Jair next to him, teaching him things, and a great guy to learn from, obviously. And now they have Rasul Douglas, of course, who they brought in when Jair got hurt, and because Stokes was kind of a younger guy, and Kevin King sucked, and so they brought in Douglas, and Douglas made the Pro Bowl. He had 2 touchdown pick sixes. He had that the interception to win that Arizona game. That's the game that we lost Kylan Hill and Tanyanen. So bummer, but we won it because of Douglas. So anyway, Douglas is the number 3 corner. That's crazy. We used to wonder who was number 2, and that was going to be Kevin King, and we wish it wasn't. Even though I like the 6'3", 200-pound corner out of Washington, but he's still never played well and always got beat. So now we have 3 guys who are really good corners, and that's crazy depth at that position, especially when teams are so stacked at receiver. So now we can line up against pretty much any offense in the league, and we have guys that can, play a man-to-man, really. Douglas is going to play in the slot, and they put him in at free safety, which, limits how many safeties you need, and that's why I had them keeping an extra corner here. Shamar John Charles, he's the guy they had last year. He's a little undersized, but I really like his ball hawk ability. I just think he makes the team again this year. I think the Packers are high on him. And then Keyshawn Nixon, he makes his team as another Bisaccia guy for special teams and things of that nature, but he actually looked good in coverage as well. I think this guy can play, and he seems to have kind of been accepted by the group back there in the secondary. So I'm excited about him. And then another guy that made it last year, who we didn't think would make it last year, who had a really good training camp this year, Kavion Ento. He's the 6th corner. I don't think Rico Gafford makes it as that kick returner corner because he just didn't get enough time back there, and I didn't see enough from him on special teams to really have him be a guy that they keep for that reason. So I think they keep Ento because he is a guy that I think would get taken if we put him on the practice squad, and I think the Packers are high on him as well. So I think it's going to be Ento. We will see. All these positions, there's pretty much locks. Like the first 46 guys I think I got to that were locks pretty much. And then I had to add a few guys in there. And that's how I got to where I got. So I just, there's players that might make it and might not. And this practice squad manipulation is going to be key to all of this. But this is kind of what I think would be the best situation for the Packers because of what team needs and the question marks they have, at receiver. If these young guys struggle early, you're going to want veterans there. I know Amari Rodgers didn't have a lot of catches last year, but still he's had more time in the NFL, played in big games and things of that nature. So nice to have him on the team. And then, Sammy Watkins and Lazard and Cobb, they're pretty much locks. And then Winfrey hasn't made a day one roster yet for the Packers, so I think this is his year, especially with when Aaron Rodgers shouted him and Dobbs out by number, saying that they're guys that have been stepping up. So I just that's why I have him keep an 8. 6 corners, 9 offensive linemen. That's a decent amount of players at those positions, but only 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, which helps because it's not Tim Boyle again, and then 5 defensive linemen, that's solid, and 5 outside linebackers. Those are positions where you could keep 3 or 4 of each and be probably okay. Not outside linebacker, you'd want 4 there, but defensive linemen, you could keep only 3. You might be a little light, but 4 maybe, and then 4 outside linebackers. So that's it's 1 or 2 spots right there that you could add guys at other places. But I like how this roster that I have set up looks, and now then we're to safety. That's why I brought up Dallin Levitt, because I had him being on the 53 and then IR'd, and then them keeping Micah Abernathy as the 4th safety with Levitt coming back after week 4. But now I think Levitt's back. I think that I saw that. And so I have him just making the 53 straight up. But so Amos will start. Savage will start. Hopefully Savage is okay week 1 for the Vikings. And then Sean Davis, kind of that lock now as a 3rd safety because of Vernon Scott's injury and release. And then, like I said, I have him keep him Dallin because of the special teams guru he is in Rich Bisaccia's special teams. So I have, I thought maybe they'd keep 3 Bisaccia guys. That's why I thought Gafford would make it, but having them keep Levitt and Nixon. So I think that's pretty good to have him have 2 of his guys. That's pretty solid. And then, so that's 4 safeties. I think that's about all they keep. I don't think they'll keep a 5th. I know everybody's high on Tariq Carpenter. I love Tariq Carpenter. I really do. I just don't think he showed enough in the back end as a safety in coverage. He got burned a few times, and then he did make a nice open field tackle. I like him. He's like 6'3", 240. He can run. I don't know if he makes it. Who would you cut on this list? If you keep him, obviously you could put Samori Toure on the practice squad and then keep Tariq Carpenter, but you risking losing Toure. Maybe Heflin doesn't make it right away. Maybe you want to keep Carpenter and see if some other guy goes on IR. I don't know how it's going to get manipulated. I like Carpenter too. I really do. I just don't know where he fits on here. Maybe not. Maybe Ento doesn't make it and you keep Carpenter instead. But it's just tough. Where do you drop a guy? Like I said again, DeGuara maybe doesn't make this team and you keep Tariq Carpenter. But I see a lot of people keeping Carpenter, and I just don't see how they do it with what I have going here. Because then obviously kicker Crosby. I think Crosby comes back and is week 1 kicker. I do like what Ramiz Ahmed has been doing, but I just think it's Crosby's job, and they're not going to leave it to this USFL guy in the clutch when they might be going to a Super Bowl and they'll need him in the playoffs. They're thinking long term, and Crosby will be that guy. So Pat O'Donnell, punting like the vet that he is. I loved what I saw to him. And then this long snapper, Jack Coco, played tight end. and hasn't snapped since high school, but he looked really good, so I liked what I saw. And then, I did the practice squad too, but it's kind of changed up now because of the little adjustments I've made, and now all the question marks go in, and what happens now. So that's the 53-man roster prediction, final one, before tomorrow's final cuts. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and go Packers. We got like 10 days or so until Packers football. Well, it's more than 10 days, but it's 12 days till Packers football. We have less than 10 days until kickoff of the NFL season. So I'm super excited, and I hope you guys are too. So peace out, and thank you guys for watching. Go Packers.